What is the carbon cycle? The carbon cycle is a biogeochemical cycle by which carbon is exchanged among the biosphere, pedosphere, geosphere, hydrosphere, and the atmosphere of the Earth. What are the steps in the carbon cycle? Step 1. Carbon enters the atmosphere as carbon dioxide from respiration and combustion. Step 2. Carbon dioxide is absorbed by producers, plants, to make carbohydrates in photosynthesis. Oxygen is a waste product. Step 3. Animals feed on plants. Most of the carbon they consume is exhaled as carbon dioxide.
Photosynthesis is a process that turns carbon dioxide into carbohydrates by using energy from light. The reactants are carbon dioxide and water. The products are carbohydrates and oxygen. The formula is 6CO2 plus 6H2O, which makes C6H12O6 plus 6O2. Organisms that carry out photosynthesis are plants, as well as some bacteria. Chloroplasts are membrane-bound organelles where photosynthesis takes place in plants. Here we see deer eating grass. Plants use photosynthesis to make their own food. Animals eat other organisms as food, but this is not a direct source of energy. Cellular respiration makes ATP by breaking down sugars. The reactants are carbohydrates and oxygen, while the products are carbon dioxide and water. The formula is C6H12O6 plus 6O2, which makes 6H2O plus 6CO2 plus ATP. Organisms that carry out cellular respiration are animals. Cellular respiration happens in mitochondria, which are often called the cell's powerhouses. A mitochondrion can't directly make ATP from food. First, foods are broken down into small molecules, like glucose, for example.
So here we see a dead animal. Dead organisms are eaten by decomposers, and the carbon in their bodies is returned to the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. In some condition, decomposition is blocked. The plant and the animal may be available as fossil fuel in the future for combustion. Oil and gases were formed from dead organisms. Coal was formed from dead trees and other plant material. These are called fossil fuels. They were formed over millions of years ago and are non-renewable sources of energy. Fossil fuels are used to fuel cars, planes, power electricity plants, and heat our homes. They are also used to make medicines, cosmetics, plastics, synthetic fabrics, and lubricants.
Here we see a volcano. Volcanoes emit carbon dioxide in two ways: during eruptions and through underground magma. Carbon dioxide from underground magma is released through vents, porous rocks and soils, and water that feeds volcanic lakes and hot springs. Volcanic activity today may pale in comparison to the carbon dioxide emissions we are generating by burning fossil fuels, but over the course of all geological time, volcanoes have occasionally contributed to global warming. Now, what about the human impact? Due to human activities, the atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide has been rising extensively since the Industrial Revolution and has now reached dangerous levels not seen in the last 3 million years. 87% of human-produced carbon dioxide comes from burning fossil fuels like oil, gas, and coal. The remainder comes from deforestation and some industrial processes like cement manufacturing. Coal is the most carbon-intensive fossil fuel. For every ton of coal burned, about 2.5 tons of CO2 is produced.
The ocean plays a rather important part in the carbon cycle. It is called a carbon sink because it takes up more carbon from the atmosphere than it gives up. Carbon dioxide from the atmosphere dissolves in the surface of the waters of the ocean. Some of the carbon dioxide stays as dissolved gas. Photosynthesis by tiny marine plants, like plankton, and sunlight surfaces water turn the carbon into organic matter. Many organisms use carbon to make calcium carbonate, a building material of shells and skeletons. Thank you for listening and watching our presentation.